bit of protection, as flimsy as it was about to fall down, and they have to run out toward the enemy without protection. And I was going to play that and freeze it with the looks on the faces of these men, these young men, and ask the question, is happiness really what it's all about? Do any of these men look happy right now? That would not be a description of them. They would not be happy. They were terrified. But you see, they lived in a day when we viewed mankind as something more than a mere animal. They lived in a day when they had been taught that what makes a man are words like honor, duty, character, responsibility, and that often in this life, promoting and cultivating those things will not result in happiness. They understood the difference between happiness and joy. Happiness is a fleeting state of mind. Joy is something that one can have in horrific circumstances. If you've ever read The Hiding Place, you know exactly what we're talking about. But there could be people who experience joy in Dachau and Auschwitz because they had character, because they had honor and duty and dignity, because they recognized that mankind was something more than an animal. What we listen to from those panelists is not only a level of immaturity that is absolutely shocking, but it is ethical nihilism. It is empty. It has nothing to offer, and it cannot long survive. No culture that becomes that has any framework upon which to be able to respond to any kind of meaningful pressure. What is going to happen to a culture that has that as its moral and ethical fiber when an American city disappears under a mushroom cloud from a terrorist attack? What's going to happen then? Collapse. Absolute collapse. That's what we're looking at. And clearly, they don't care. They're getting their pay. They've got their BMW. They've got their fancy clothing, and they don't care because they're autonomous. And as long as they're happy, things are good. Now, they all of a sudden find themselves in a nuclear winter, and they'll be blaming everybody, but the only person they have to blame themselves. But they don't want to be bothered with that kind of thinking, that kind of. They don't want to be challenged at. It makes people uncomfortable. You know, it takes my happiness away, and that won't make me happy. So I just need to be happy. The immaturity of our society, just absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking. What can we do? We have to warn these individuals, and they don't like being warned. We will be called hateful and bigots. And again, folks, only give to people's words and opinions the weight that their thoughtfulness deserves. If you're dealing with people who clearly, well, I kept thinking, I kept thinking about the very humorous thing that Doug Wilson said to the wild-eyed lesbian chick at that debate at the university. Remember what he said? She wouldn't let him get more than 2 sentences out before she'd. And at one point he said, and I frequently have thoughts that require more than 2 sentences to express. And that's what I was thinking, is that on CNN, HLN, what passes for, and in fact I mentioned in the brief little thing I put on Facebook which somehow didn't get deleted. Brief little thing I put on Facebook when Dr. Drew said this is a complex issue, and this kind of deep conversation just doesn't happen very often on television. I was having a real hard time just not laughing. Deep conversation. Wow. Okay, there you go. There's what our it's amazing. It truly is. So I tried contacting yesterday, didn't get hold of anybody. I'm going to try again today to contact the producer of the program and communicate to them some of my thoughts and invitation to actually address the issue meaningfully, because that wasn't addressed meaningfully. I mean, I just can't see how anybody can think that I don't even know what to call it, was a meaningful conversation about anything. But we'll see.
I fear that we walked into the norm of the culture.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how all of these people think and function, and frankly, it was an eye-opener for me.
Oh, yeah.
And as I've told you a few times, we have the worldview of the Lord Jesus Christ against the worldview of Jersey Shore. And if anybody's ever even seen a commercial for Jersey Shore, you know what I'm talking about. It's vacuous. And that's what I walked into the middle trying to communicate with vacuous people.
Yeah, the emptiness of that worldview and the emptiness of the thought process, and of course watching the tweets that came in afterwards. Oh my goodness, I haven't done it yet, but I was going to repost using the Logos visual thingy, create that nice looking background and put it on Twitter and Facebook, but I am reminded once again of the Hebrew term zuloth. Zuloth. Zuloth is a term that is used in Psalm 12, and it means that which is vile. I'm sorry, Zuluth. And the statement that is made in Psalm 12:8 English Bible, Psalm 12:9 in the Masoretic text,